Have you ever met someone and felt, without reason, that you already knew them, as if your heart had recognized something your mind could not yet explain? That moment, that instant recognition, is one of the hidden signs that you may have found your soulmate. It is not loud, it does not announce itself, it is quiet, but it moves through you with a certainty you cannot ignore. C.S. Lewis once said that friendship begins the moment one soul looks at another and says, "You too. I thought I was the only one." That recognition, that sudden awareness that you are not alone in the way you see the world, is the essence of what binds two souls together, and when it happens with the one who will become your partner, it is unlike anything else. It is not built on attraction alone, not on surface details, but on the deeper truth that your soul has found its reflection. Psychology calls this resonance a natural alignment where two nervous systems feel instantly at ease, as if they've spoken before without words. It is more than familiarity, it is a sense of coming home. You can meet hundreds of people in your life, but when you encounter the one whose presence feels like déjà vu for your heart, everything inside of you knows it matters. What makes this so powerful is that it cannot be forced. You cannot create this kind of connection by trying harder, by impressing more, by striving to be noticed. It simply happens, and when it does, it feels effortless. Conversation flows, silence feels comfortable, and time seems to bend. Hours slip by like minutes, and you walk away wondering how someone who was once a stranger suddenly feels like part of your story. Think about what that means for your life. We live in a world full of noise, people competing for attention, relationships built on appearances, connections that fade as quickly as they begin. But when you meet someone who stirs this quiet recognition in your heart, you realize that not all connections are equal. Some are shallow, fleeting, bound only to circumstances, but others rare, extraordinary, are bound to something deeper. They remind you that you are not wandering alone, that your journey is shared, and that your soul has been waiting for this meeting all along. This recognition is not always dramatic. It may not look like fireworks. It may not feel like a sudden rush. Sometimes it feels gentle, like a whisper, like a calm assurance that this person belongs in your story. That subtlety is its strength, because it doesn't fade the way infatuation fades. It doesn't vanish when the first excitement passes. Instead, it deepens with time. The more you know them, the more you realize the connection was never an illusion. It was truth waiting to be discovered. Why does this matter so much? Because the deepest relationships are not built on surface attraction or temporary chemistry. They are built on recognition, on the sense that you've found someone who understands your soul without needing explanation. When you find that, you've found something that cannot be easily broken. C.S. Lewis understood this kind of connection. He wrote often of how true bonds begin not with the grand declaration, but with the simple acknowledgement of shared truth. You too, those two words carry the weight of belonging. They cut through loneliness. They erase the illusion that you are misunderstood or isolated. When your soul encounters another and whispers those words, it is the beginning of something eternal. And here is why you should pay attention to this hidden sign, because many people overlook it. They search for passion, for perfection, for something that dazzles loudly, but the loudest loves often fade. The quiet ones endure. The recognition of souls is not glamorous, but it is grounding. It tells you that no matter how chaotic life becomes, there is one person who sees you not as you appear, but as you are. This is the reward of noticing, of valuing this sign. When you recognize it, when you choose it, You are choosing a love that will not be shaken by time, by distance, by hardship. You are choosing a bond that grows deeper in silence, in stillness, in presence. And that kind of love is what transforms a life, not because it fills you with noise, but because it gives you peace. So if you've ever met someone who made you feel known without speaking, who awakened a sense of home inside your heart, pay attention. That is not ordinary, that is not coincidence, that is the whisper of destiny. It is the quiet recognition of souls, the sign that you found the one you were meant to find. And once you've experienced it, you will never again mistake temporary attraction for true connection. Because your heart already knows the difference, and your soul will not let you forget it. When your soul recognizes another, something even more powerful begins to unfold. You feel free to be yourself. Masks fall away, walls crumble, you stop worrying about impressing, performing, or proving your worth. Instead, you breathe, you relax, you exist without fear. And in that freedom, you discover one of the greatest signs that you have met your soulmate. Their presence makes you feel at home within your own skin. So many people move through life carrying invisible armor. They hide their flaws, they soften their truths, they bend themselves to fit into spaces where they are not fully accepted. It is exhausting. It drains energy, kills joy, and leaves the soul restless. But when you find the one who was made to walk with you, all of that changes. For the first time, you feel that nothing about you needs to be hidden. You can laugh without holding back, cry without shame, and share your dreams without fear of being misunderstood. C.S. Lewis once wrote that love is not about finding someone perfect, but about learning to see an imperfect person perfectly. That is what happens here. Your soulmate doesn't demand that you become flawless. They don't love you because you fit an image, they love you because you are real, and that realness is what sets you free. Psychology backs this truth. Research shows that authentic connection reduces anxiety, lowers stress, and increases resilience. When you are accepted as you are, your nervous system relaxes, your guard comes down, you no longer feel the constant need to fight for approval. Instead, you thrive in the safety of unconditional acceptance. That is why being yourself with someone is not just comforting, it is transformational. It heals wounds you didn't even know you carried. Ask yourself, who in your life has ever made you feel like you could show every part of yourself without fear? Who has seen the parts of you you tried to hide and still chosen to stay? That is rare, that is sacred, and when it happens, it leaves no doubt you have found someone who loves not just your light, but also your shadows. The beauty of this is that it is not built on perfection, but on truth. With the wrong person, you may feel pressure to keep the performance alive, to always be interesting, always be strong, always be in control. But with the right one, you realize you don't have to be on all the time. You can be quiet, you can be uncertain, you can be messy, and still you are loved, still you are wanted, still you are enough. This freedom is the soil where real love grows, because when you no longer fear being exposed, intimacy can deepen, trust can flourish, vulnerability becomes strength, not weakness. And two people can truly know each other, not just the surface, not just the polished version, but the full depth of who they are. That is what makes a soulmate different from anyone else. They see you fully, and instead of pulling away, they draw closer. C.S. Lewis understood this when he said that being loved is one of the greatest risks a human can take. Because to be loved, truly loved, means to be seen, and to be seen means to risk rejection. But when you encounter the one who sees you and stays, that risk transforms into reward. It becomes the safe haven your heart has been searching for all along, and this is where many people mistake excitement for love. Excitement comes when you impress someone, when you put your best side forward and they admire what they see. But true love doesn't live there. True love lives in the quiet moment when the mask slips, when your flaws show, when your fears surface and they don't walk away. That is when you know. That is when your soul exhales and whispers, "I can be me." The reward of this freedom is enormous. Because when you are loved as you are, you finally begin to grow into who you are meant to be. You are no longer shrinking to fit. You are no longer pretending to belong. You are expanding, stretching, becoming. A soulmate doesn't just accept you, they help you discover more of yourself than you ever thought possible. So if you have someone in your life who makes you feel this way, pay attention. If you can sit in front of them and show both your strength and your weakness, both your joy and your pain, and still feel safe, you are not holding an ordinary love. You are holding a love that sets you free. Because in the end, the truest sign of finding your soulmate is not how they make you look, but how they make you feel. Do they make you feel seen? Do they make you feel safe? Do they make you feel like yourself is enough? If the answer is yes, then you have found something most people spend a lifetime searching for. And once you have it, you will understand why nothing less could ever compare. When love allows you to be yourself, something even deeper comes to light. You begin to notice that your values align. Not just your hobbies, not just your tastes, not just the little details of your day-to-day life, but the principles that guide your choices, the beliefs that shape your actions, the vision that pulls you forward. This is one of the most hidden yet undeniable signs of a soulmate. You don't just walk side by side in the present. You walk toward the same future. C.S. Lewis once wrote that real love is not simply an emotion, it is a commitment of the will. Feelings rise and fall, emotions burn hot and then cool, but when two people share the same values, they share the same compass. They may take different paths, face different challenges, or express themselves in different ways, but their direction remains the same. That shared direction becomes the anchor that holds love steady when storms come. Think about it. Infatuation can carry two people far for a while, but when difficulties arrive, when the excitement fades, when life demands sacrifice, it is values that determine whether you grow together or apart. If your values are aligned, you move through hardship as a team. You see challenges not as reasons to give up, but as opportunities to grow stronger together. If your values clash, every storm becomes a wedge, pulling you in opposite directions until the bond cannot hold. Psychology supports this truth. Research consistently shows that shared values are one of the strongest predictors of long-term relationship satisfaction. Attraction may spark the fire, but shared purpose keeps it burning. When two people value honesty, loyalty, growth, kindness, or faith in the same way, they build trust that does not collapse under pressure. When values are divided, no amount of chemistry can compensate for the cracks it creates. Ask yourself, who in your life not only loves you, but also believes in what you believe in? Who doesn't just admire your dreams but shares them, nurtures them, and even challenges you to reach higher? That is not common, that is not ordinary, that is the sign of a soulmate. It's important to realize that this doesn't mean you must agree on everything. Soulmates are not identical. They are not mirrors of each other in every detail. But at the core, they align. Their roots grow in the same soil, even if their branches stretch in different directions. And that shared foundation gives them the strength to withstand anything. This is why true partnership is more than romance. it is a union of vision. With the wrong person, you may feel pulled in two directions, torn between your heart and your path. With the right person, your journey feels lighter because you are walking together. You are not just sharing time, you are sharing purpose. That is the hidden strength of a soulmate connection. It does not only make you feel love, it makes you feel meaning. C.S. Lewis spoke of love as something that lifts us beyond ourselves, something that calls us toward truth and goodness. A soulmate is not someone who simply makes you feel good in the moment. They are someone who helps you live out your deepest values. They don't just give you comfort, they give you clarity. They don't just hold your hand, they help you build a life that reflects what matters most. And here is the power of this sign. It gives you endurance. Life will test you. There will be times when the feeling of love doesn't come easily, when the weight of responsibility overshadows the glow of romance. But if your values are aligned, you will not break. You will remind each other why you chose this path, why you chose each other, and you will find the strength to keep moving forward. Many people chase passion without asking the deeper question: does this person share my values? Do they see the world through a lens that complements my own? Do they want the kind of life I want? Without that alignment, the relationship may sparkle, but it will not last. With that alignment, even the most ordinary days take on extraordinary meaning, because every step you take together moves you closer to a shared destiny. So if you've found someone whose values echo your own, who chooses what you choose, who believes what you believe, do not take it lightly. That is not just compatibility, that is destiny. That is the universe weaving two lives into one path. And when you walk that path together, you discover that love is not just about how much you feel, but about how much you build. The truth is, anyone can hold your hand for a moment, but only a soulmate will hold your vision for a lifetime. And when you find that, you know you are not just in love, you are in alignment. And alignment is the hidden key that transforms fleeting affection into an eternal bond. Beyond recognition, freedom, and shared values, there is a quiet language that speaks even louder than words, the language of silence. With a soulmate, you don't need to fill every moment with chatter, jokes, or plans. You can sit together and say nothing at all, and still feel a connection that resonates through your very being. That shared silence is not empty, it is alive. It is a sign that your bond has reached a depth most people never experience. Consider what this truly means. In a world that constantly pushes us to prove ourselves, to perform, to entertain, silence can feel uncomfortable with anyone else. Awkward pauses create anxiety. Stillness becomes pressure. But with a soulmate, silence becomes peace. It is restorative, it is grounding. It reminds you that your connection does not rely on words, appearances, or constant validation. You simply exist together, and that is enough. Neuroscience explains why this is so powerful. When two people feel safe enough to sit together in silence, their brains synchronize, their heart rates align, their nervous systems calm. Comfort in silence is a sign of deep trust and emotional security. It is one of the most subtle yet undeniable proofs that you have found someone who belongs in your life. This quiet communication also transcends the limits of speech. Words can be misunderstood, delayed, or fail to capture the truth of a moment. But when a soulmate is near, a glance, a breath, a subtle gesture can convey everything you need. You feel understood before you speak. Your emotions are recognized before they are named. The connection is intuitive, profound, and almost magical in its simplicity. Ask yourself, who in your life allows you to be completely present without forcing conversation or explanations? Who makes stillness feel rich instead of empty? That is the measure of a bond that goes far beyond surface-level affection. That is the sign of a relationship built on soul-level trust. Silence also reveals how enduring love truly is. Passion and excitement can flare in the chaos of constant action, but only a deep spiritual connection allows love to thrive when the world is still. The ability to feel whole with someone without needing to create distractions or fill every second is rare. It is a quiet miracle. It demonstrates that the love you share is not conditional, temporary, or dependent on circumstance. It is steady, unwavering, and eternal. C.S. Lewis understood this kind of connection when he spoke about love as something that sees beyond what is immediate and obvious. True love perceives the heart without requiring proof, hears the soul without needing words, and rests in a shared understanding that does not require performance. A soulmate is someone with whom silence does not create distance, it creates closeness. Think about the implications of this. Many people mistake the absence of noise for the absence of connection. They chase conversations, activities, and displays of affection to validate their relationships. But a soulmate does not require that. Their presence alone is a signal of belonging. Their quietness does not push you away, it draws you in. In that space, the bond is reinforced, not tested. It is a sanctuary where your heart can rest, recharge, and fully open. The power of shared silence also fosters vulnerability. When words are unnecessary, pretenses fall away. You are not performing, pretending, or protecting. You simply are. That vulnerability deepens intimacy in ways that no conversation can replicate. It teaches you that love does not need constant reinforcement. It thrives in stillness because it is rooted in something deeper than momentary excitement or surface attraction. It is rooted in soul-level recognition, understanding, and acceptance. And here is the most remarkable truth. When silence feels whole, when it feels safe, when it feels right, you no longer fear being alone. Because being with your soulmate, even in quiet, is never loneliness. It is belonging, it is connection, it is love speaking louder than words ever could. That is why this hidden sign matters more than any grand gesture, any dramatic declaration, any fleeting thrill. It is proof that your love has endured the test of quiet, the ultimate measure of depth. So, if you have experienced moments where you sit together with someone, and the world could fall away and it would not matter, pay attention. That is not coincidence. That is not comfort alone. That is the unmistakable sign of a soulmate, a bond that has reached a level where words are optional, presence is enough, and love is absolute. When shared silence becomes your sanctuary, you understand a truth that changes everything. Love is not only about feeling, it is about being. Being seen without explanation, being accepted without conditions, being connected without the need for noise. And once you feel this with someone, you know you have found more than just a partner, you have found the one who resonates with your soul, the one with whom even silence speaks volumes. When you have experienced recognition, freedom, shared values, and the profound language of silence, something even more transformative begins to emerge. A soulmate challenges you to grow. True love does not settle for stagnation. It does not simply comfort or protect. It calls you higher. It stretches you, shapes you, and reflects back the best version of yourself you have yet to discover. This is the hidden sign that distinguishes ordinary love from a love that refines the soul. C.S. Lewis wrote that love is not simply a feeling, but a force that shapes us toward truth and goodness. A soulmate does not leave you as you are. They see your potential even when you cannot. They challenge your fears, confront your weaknesses, and hold a mirror to the parts of yourself you might prefer to ignore. And they do this not to control you, but to help you become fully who you were meant to be. This kind of love is not comfortable at all times. Growth demands tension, change requires discomfort, transformation calls for courage, and a soulmate does not allow you to remain small or complacent. They do not settle for a version of you that is convenient or easy. Instead, they encourage, provoke, and inspire you to expand into the person your heart and spirit were designed to become. Psychology calls this phenomenon partner enhanced growth. Studies show that couples who push each other towards self-improvement, challenge negative patterns, and support each other in personal development experience deeper, longer-lasting satisfaction. A soulmate is not just someone who makes you happy, they are someone who makes you stronger, wiser, braver, and more aligned with your highest self. Ask yourself, who in your life encourages you to face your fears, to rise above your doubts, to embrace your potential, even when it scares you? Who refuses to let you settle for mediocrity? That person is not just a partner, they are a guide, a reflection, and a catalyst for the life you were meant to live. And when you find someone like this, you realize that love is not merely a comfort, it is a calling. The beauty of this growth is that it is rooted in love, not criticism. A soulmate does not belittle, shame, or control. They challenge you because they believe in you. They stretch you because they know you are capable. They push you toward the best version of yourself because they love you enough to demand the greatness you may not yet see in yourself. And in doing so, they transform the very way you experience life, love, and purpose. Many people chase relationships that feel safe, predictable, and easy. But a soulmate is not about comfort alone. They are about transformation. They invite you to grow in ways that excite and terrify you simultaneously. They are the ones who call you to live fully, who demand honesty, courage, and integrity, who hold you accountable not with judgment, but with unwavering support. This is the kind of love that shapes not only your heart, but your destiny. C.S. Lewis emphasized that real love refines us. It stretches us towards something higher, something more true. A soulmate is a living example of this principle. Through their presence, their encouragement, and their challenges, you are reminded that love is not static. It evolves, it deepens, it elevates. It transforms ordinary life into something extraordinary, and ordinary moments into lessons of courage, insight, and growth. The hidden reward of this sign is profound. You do not merely feel loved, you feel empowered. You do not merely feel safe, you feel inspired. You do not merely walk beside someone, you grow with someone. And the combination of recognition, freedom, alignment, silence, and growth creates a bond that cannot be shaken by circumstance, time, or adversity. It is a love that refines the soul and transforms life from ordinary to extraordinary. So if you have found someone who challenges you to rise, who sees your potential before you see it yourself, who pushes you toward courage and integrity, you are holding something rare. This is not about control or perfection, it is about elevation. It is about becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself in the presence of someone who loves you enough to help you reach it. And once you experience this, you understand that true love is not just about feeling joy, comfort, or connection. True love is about transformation. It is about becoming who you were meant to be together. It is about building a life where each of you stretches, supports, and uplifts the other. It is about a love so deep, so aligned, so purposeful, that it transcends time, circumstance, and challenge. When a soulmate calls you to growth, you recognize that the ultimate reward of love is not simply companionship, but evolution, not simply happiness, but awakening, not merely attraction, but alignment of heart, mind, and soul. And when all of these signs converge, recognition, freedom, shared values, meaningful silence, and transformative growth, you know without doubt that you have found more than a partner. You have found a soulmate, a mirror of your spirit, and the catalyst for the highest, most authentic version of your life.